Hey guys, welcome back to another tutorial. I'm going to be showing you how to wax a men's lower leg using soft wax. Let's go ahead and get into it. Before you start, the prep is so key. I'm using fur oil to prep my client's skin. This is going to help protect my client's skin from the wax, and is also going to help hydrate and moisturize the skin. The legs are an area that really get dry a lot, especially during the winter season. So it's so important that you go in with a good oil first as your prep. This will keep the wax from breaking so much. Now, as you can see on my wax strip, this is soft wax. I don't have too much on there, but I do have a really solid amount to be able to cover the entire lower leg. As you see, when I spread the wax on there, I kind of did like a sweeping motion horizontally, and then I dragged the wax downwards toward the ankle. Be sure that you don't drag it too much to where it's tugging on the hair. You do want to apply pressure, but just make sure that the pressure isn't too much and that wax isn't tugging on there. When you are applying the wax, be sure that you overlap slightly so that way you cover all your bases. Now, a really great hack that you can do in the beginning of the service is ask your client to point their toes to the bed. Have your client touch their toes on the bed. This is going to help kind of elongate that back of the ankle, and it's gonna kind of also hold the skin taut a little bit. It's gonna make sure that you're able to reach the back of the ankle without it kind of crinkling up as it normally would fold if your client's feet were like laying normal. Now, when we go in to remove, notice how I'm just using one wax strip, you guys. One, Pellin, cotton strip, whatever you are deciding to use for that removal for the soft wax. Notice how I'm only using one for the back of the legs. Also notice how I'm only applying about 2 to 3 rubs of pressure. You don't need too much, because if you do too much, that's going to press the wax into the client's skin a little bit too much, and we could cause some lifting. So we don't want to do that. Really good pressure 1 to 2 times should really do it. Look at all of that hair. Isn't that cool? This is one of the reasons I love using soft wax, especially for large areas of the body, is because it makes your waxing process go a lot faster. Now I'm going back in for some areas that I missed. So we're going to go on the sides to make sure that we cover everything that I can see before we flip my client over to do the front of their legs. Okay, now we are going to apply wax to the backs of the knees. Keep in mind that this area is very sensitive and you could easily lift your client, so always be sure that you apply your wax very thin. Now, I am using a gel-based wax, so this wax is typically applied a little bit thicker in some areas, especially because my client has coarse hair. So it all depends on the wax that you are using, but definitely make sure that when you are applying wax to the backs of the knees, is very tender. So apply your wax strips very thin. I always apply pressure immediately after each removal because it just helps comfort the skin a little bit. It just gives them kind of a gentle, soft, comforting touch, and it kind of helps trick their brain a little bit to focus on the gentle touch versus the initial hair removal itself. If you are new to waxing, I would recommend working one leg at a time. If you are unsure on, how to do this technique is for speed waxers, for waxers who are a little bit more advanced. If you leave the wax on your client for too long, it could get cold and you could have a hard time removing the hair. So if you are new to this, make sure that you work on one leg at a time. All right, now we are moving on to the front of the legs. You guys, when you do the backs of the legs, it makes the front of the legs so much easier. It goes by very, very fast. So the same technique is going to be applied, and be comfortable with moving your client's legs and adjusting them how you need them, so that way you can get the hairs. As you see, I am going over the knees slightly. I'll show you how I do the rest of that later in this video, but I am going to kind of touch on the bottom half of that knee a little bit. Also notice that when you are going over the shin, you guys be very careful to not scrape your client's shin, because that can be very painful. That can really hurt. So kind of imagine you applying the wax, but not directly on the shin. Kind of go slightly to the side of it and angle your spatula as much as you can, so that way you're not scraping and hurting your client. When you are applying your soft wax, always be sure that you smooth out those edges. Make sure that there's no super clumpy lines there, just to make sure that we aren't applying the wax too thick, because like I said, it can cause lifting on your client's skin. When you are removing your wax, be sure that you leave a little bit of room so that you can actually grab the wax strip itself. You don't want to cover the entire wax strip to where you have no room to pick it up, and when you go to grab it, it's covered in wax, and then your hands are all sticky. So be sure that you don't cover the entire wax strip. Leave a good amount, maybe about a fourth or so, to make sure that you are able to grip that wax strip really well. Be sure also, when you are removing that wax strip, you want to go parallel to the client's skin. Never pull upwards toward the ceiling or the sky, because you can bruise your client. So always make sure you pull parallel to their skin and follow through, having a really firm grip. Okay, so to get the knees, I always ask my clients to bend their legs so that way the bottom of their feet is flat to the bed. Now, excuse my angle, you guys. Most of the video, my head was in the way, so you really couldn't see what I was doing. So please forgive me on this. I was only able to capture just a little bit of the motion of what I'm doing here. Same technique is involved. When you are waxing a curve, if you're a beginner, break the curve up to where you're not doing the entire thing. Kind of split it up and do one side and then the next side. But if you are advanced and you've been waxing for a little bit, it's okay to go over the entire thing. But just be mindful when you are waxing, going over this curve, that you still are going parallel to the skin, and that when you're removing, you're not moving outwards, but you are moving upwards. And just like that, we are officially done with the lower legs. Now, what I'm doing is I'm applying the Fur Ingrown Eliminator Serum. This is really good for calming the skin down and making sure you are kind of treating the skin to minimize any irritation that may come from the wax. You can also use something like witch hazel immediately after as well. Or an ingrown serum spray that's safe to use after hair removal services. Go ahead and follow up with your moisturizer of your choice. You can use a cream, you could use an oil. I like using the oil because, like I said, legs really absorb a lot of moisture, and you can apply the oil to kind of introduce some moisture and hydration to the skin, and it also helps to remove any wax residue. Here's the before and here's the after. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one.